Weylin, you are tucked up in bed. The warm, small furnace that is beside your bed gives you that relaxation, that chance to unwind from all the potential torment of the last day and all the questions wrecking your head. Bree, you've curled up within your bedchamber, pondering all the information, pondering the notebook that you've been able to add a few more things, especially from the conversation from Harshnag. But as the books are open, unfortunately, your eyes do close. Adrick, pondering how your relatives, how the clergyman from Bolgirntek will receive you upon your journey up north. You two, as you've propped yourself up within your bed with the fairly well-downed cushions, you two seem to slump into a bit of a slumber from all the exertion, especially with being the saviours of the Citadel. Kokopelli, you've preened yourself. You've added a couple of additions to this grand map that you've made. You seem quite chuffed, but even the greatest of artists, the best of buskers, must relax, and you've turned to your bed and have slumped within its duvet. Weylin, you've been looking out of the window as the rain has been hitting the panes and the moulding, the sills outside. It's not the worst of rain. You have definitely seen worse rainstorms back home, back in the Feywild, which you do sorely miss. But alas, with stoking your own furnace within your small room, you have gotten back into your nightwear. After checking over your armor, checking over your bow, ensuring you have enough arrows for the journey ahead, you pull the duvet over and you roll over to face the wall. For you're not particularly fond of too much heat across the front of your face, burning your small whiskers.
As he goes to check the number of arrows, he finds that he has 4. You might have to ask Adrick later.
You did see a boyer across the shop sort of plaza, so you might be able to stop there, maybe for a few more than what Adrick can make for you.
Right, yeah, we could probably do that.
Locke, with witnessing the events down in the mausoleum, with pondering a few things here and there, and sort of not truly understanding where your little friend has gone. For you've searched all over the sleeping quarters for said thing, as you wanted to ask it some questions. The day was pressing. Questions had to be answered. You two look outside of the window with the rain now thrashing at the glass, and in the distance you can definitely see that there are darkening skies. But again, being the vanguard that you are of the group, the bear must rest. As you turn inward to your duvet, to your pillows, not quite as comforting as the loamy bracken, the leaf-covered floor of a forest, the comfort that would give you. But alas, it is nice. Locke, I just wanted to reiterate a question that I asked you earlier. Are you okay with staying in this chat?
Yeah, that's cool, man.
A flicker of a nerve. A feeling of vertigo, ripping your body through what feels like an endless corridor. A flash of facial features. A pale cheek. The dusting of blue eyeshadow. The wisp of silver hair. Turning to darkness. Stuttering flashes of shouting, grimacing faces in the heat of the combat flood your senses as a wave of exhaustion overwhelms you as focus pulls to a glade. Wrecked by battle, pools of water scatter its surface, the constant deluge of water streaming through the sky, hitting the tree canopy in the distance. Your vision is obscured by this rain, the casting of mists, your feet wet. Heavy breathing, exasperation, a bitter-sweet pause. One by one, the clatter of armor, the yelling of commands and cries, a terrific roar of a beast behind you, bolstering your forward guard. 4 wolves emerge at your side, bleeding in and out of focus. The rain, your eyes, it is unclear yet familiar. You turn, nothing. Nothing but the overcasting embodiment of nature. A tree, gargantuan in size, indomitable in stature, yet swaying in the storm like the serpentine movement of a reptilian tail. You have a sense of falling back, turning to a frontal run, a gravity of sheer will and desperation as those around you hold the line, sprinting to the trees. Darkness. You hear a cackle, echoing around you, all but you in colour, surrounded by nothing but black. Ripples in the water emanating from 4 points around you. A reflection appears. One by one, these 4 points turn into your comrades, but they are not there on the water's surface. They are below these ripple lines. In front of you, a larger ripple approaches you, almost a tsunami of water splashing away the reflections of your comrades, wetting your ankles, pushing away the dirt that has covered your boots. You see in front of you a dark figure. It raises its hand, a blue orb appears. However, as quickly as it appeared, a mottled green and opal flash of light comes across, almost as if a large creature has now quashed this being. Flickering in and out of your vision, almost akin to that of the wolves in the rain, it turns to you. Dark emerald eyes flash from its face as it calls to you. Focus your anger. Focus on what is right. Focus on what your family would have wanted. Focus on what I taught you. Darkness. Weylin, you have a tugging at your arm.
I rouse from my somewhat of a sleep. I don't know how long I've been asleep for.
As you open your eyes and the sleepy dust and stuff trying to pin one of your eyelids down, you notice that nuzzling at your arm that is hanging over your bed. In the daylight that is now bleeding through the curtain. It's this little bear cub that you've seen Locke playing with in the days prior. It seems incredibly worried, as if it wants you to go towards your door and into the main room.
I'm going to cast. Where is it? Speak with animals. What's wrong, little fella? Oh, it'd be more like it would be more like, oh, what's wrong, little fella? As I'm still sort of laid down.
It's as you sort of get up and ask this question, that it still has hold of your cuff, and with a mouth full of fabric, it goes, "Please, help him, please, help him!" And he's trying to drag you towards the door.
All right,
or pull you towards the door. Sorry.
All right, okay. In the scuffle, I sort of grab my short sword, but leave the bow behind.
As you emerge through the door of your bedroom, being led by the fairly fey-looking bear cub. You can see sprawled on the floor in a pile of their, in a sheen of their own sweat. It's almost as if they've been led there for quite some time. Is Locke along the rug in front of the enormous burning fire. He seems unconscious, as if he's still asleep, but potentially having a night terror.
I will firstly gently shove Locke and see what the reaction is.
Locke, your eyes open wide. The heavy hewn blocks, the blockworks that make the domed ceiling, the chandelier hanging down with the candles that are lit upon it. You can see staring down at you, sword drawn, is Weylin. And beside you, nuzzling you, is a pile of fur.
I just sort of look at the bear cub and go, "You could have done that. You could have done that."
Can I see anybody else in the room?
No, but you are incredibly uncomfortable.
Do we sense anything?
Nope. It's just fairly warm in this room. Someone should really sort that damn fire out. These dwarves and these frigid environments. But no, there's nothing moved, nothing unturned. None of the furniture seems to be sort of like fallen over, or any of the cushions sort of misplaced. It's just Locke in the center of the room on a rug without any sort of blanket over him.
Yeah.
I'm going to instantly
right,
try and... I'm probably going to ignore Weylin, to be honest, for a second. I'm going to be focusing solely on that vision. I'm assuming I recognise that voice that told me to calm?
There is a bit of a hint in almost the tone that it gave you. However, due to the visceral undertones that such a large beast would have carried, unfortunately, that has kind of muted quite a lot of the like the mannerism that you would have picked out in a person's voice, for example.
Would I have found it reassuring?
Well, you tell me.
Well, yeah. The words that were spoken, yeah. But before that sort of came, there was that first part of the vision.
Mm-hmm.
Can I focus and remember any more about that?
It's quite uncanny, actually. You've had dreams before that you haven't been able to focus on, and generally when people talk about their dreams or nightmares, they do forget certain bits of details, but this is incredibly vivid, especially even though it was flashes of scenes to and fro through the, from the rain, from the wolves to that giant tree. As you try and think of everything, you can't help but feel like you are incredibly sore.
Is there a window?
There's a couple of windows that can be propped open, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to the window and sort of try and get a bit of fresh air.
This little fuzzball jumps up onto the mantelpiece that's beside this window, giving you a look of concern and sadness as it tries to sort of ensure that you're okay, as much as a little teddy bear could.
I'll give it a calm and pat on the way past to the window. I'll turn around to Weylin. I just had another vision. I'll describe the sort of what I saw. Yeah, I think I'm probably still going to be quite disturbed by it, so a little disjointed.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to go back to the window.
It definitely has that sense of mildew in the like a dew in the air, the mist sort of rolling off the mountainsides around. The cool breeze is definitely reassuring, especially being in front of that fire for so long. It's definitely nice having some fresh mountain air go through your lungs.
What time of year in the morning is?
Judging by the rise of sun just piercing through a valley of peaks just across from you, you would hazard the guess that is probably no earlier than 6 o'clock.
No. I'm 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
I'm just going to start getting some, probably wash my face, and then there's no way I'm going back to sleep or anything else. So I'm just going to start getting packed up whilst contemplating what's just gone on.
Okay.
Wayland's going back to bed.
As the light starts to become brighter and brighter, for those of you in your rooms, the light does creep through the curtains, sort of casting across your beds, and you wake more naturally, let's say, than one of your party members. So by all means, whoever wants to wake up next, just carry on amongst yourselves.
Bree's fast
I'll do mine.
asleep.
Oh,
Kokopelli's not going to wake up.
Adrick will start doing his normal morning prayers and things like that, loudly next to Bree's room.
you hear word for word what spells Adrick is starting to prepare.
Can you recite those spells, please?
Sorry.
I'll send you a list.
There is a knock at the door. Housekeeping!
I'll go open the door.
You notice that lock is up somewhere within the grand sort of foyer room, the grand living quarters. Ignoring the door, I would assume.
Yeah, plainly. Probably sitting in a corner brooding.
I'll give him a bit of a stare. Like, yeah, okay.
There's another knock at the door.
I'll open the door.
Ah, Adrick, hi. Would you like the usual as you had yesterday for breakfast? You can see down the corridor that there's the other two attendant maids, sort of holding fresh linen and stuff as they sort of pile up on like a cart.
Yes, please, thank you. That'll be fine. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And as quickly as she appeared, knocking at your door, she is gone. And the two attendants that were dealing with the cart have sort of followed her down the corridor that intersects at a T section, halfway down.
Cool.
Locke, just to explain to you, you now have the Find Familiar spell innately able to be cast, FYI.
Cool. Is that on my sheet or?
Not yet. I just wanted to tell you.
Cool.
All right. What do you want to do? You guys act out, discuss anything that you want this morning, your plans, etc. What you need to prepare. I'm all ears.
Kokopelli's still asleep.
Has the food arrived yet?
Oh, it depends on if anyone wants to have a discussion in between. If not, we can have the food arrive.
I figure the breakfast table is a good place to have discussions.
Okay. For those of you who are still within your private bed chambers, the smell of freshly cooked meats, pastries, breads, the freshness of fruit, the sweetness of like grapes, oranges, etc., graces your nostrils.
Breaded bread.
I'll have a slice of bread with bread, please.
Cool. Kokopelli gets up with that smell and goes to the table.
Sure thing. No worries. All right. You have your feathered friend at the table, scarfing into all sorts of granola, seeds, meats.
Adrick's toasting bread and pushing some sort of yeast spread on it.
Ah, yes, the fabled dwarven delicacy that only a few like.
The one.
I'll head over to the table as well. Start picking up bits of food. I'm probably gonna be freaking hungry as hell from the night I've had, so I'll be tucking into it.
Your little bear cub friend and Walter are sat together on one of the chairs at the opposite end of the table, sort of looking at all of this food, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, waiting for an opportunity to maybe take a sausage or two.
I'll pass Walter a bit of bacon.
Yeah, I'll grab a couple of sausage and give the. Has he got a name? Sorry, the little bear.
Paddington?
Oof. So
Winnie the Pooh.
during one of your first evenings staying within the citadel, coming back to your room, you couldn't help but notice that your bag was kind of writhing around, and somehow you've had this little fey creature appear out of pretty much nowhere. No note, no collar, no nothing. So it's really up to you.
I'll look at him. I'm just don't know what your name is yet, though, man. But I'll give him a couple of sausage. Give him a puzzled look and see if a name springs to mind over the next few hours.
I'll grab the spicy sausage off the bear and replace it with a non-spicy version.
I'll give Adrick a disappointing look. Oh, fine.
You can have it if you want. It's not animal food.
Weylin, satisfied that he's got a cheeky 15 minutes extra in bed, comes back out having smelt food and gets tucked in himself.
Okay, grand. The four of you are around the table, awaiting your feline compatriot. You can discuss anything now. It's all up to you. If not, Bree, you've got the floor if you want.
Bree hears all and smells all, but just turns her head to face the wall.
I love how lazy Bree is.
Thank you. I will not do anything until someone approaches me and, in quotations, wakes me up.
I'll look to Adrick and the rest of the guys. I had another vision or dream last night. I'll describe it. So it almost felt like there was a evil or unkind force, similar to Pat last time, or previous visions, who was almost about to either make contact or make their presence known, but then a larger force almost squashed that away and told me to remember to calm and to remember calm and remember what my family would have wanted and what they taught me. And I just sort of kind of looked down at my plate, completely unsure as to what to make of everything.
Kokopelli, this is the first time you've heard of these visions, just to let you know. And have you, Locke, have you divulged any other details to your party members of the other visions and stuff?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure a couple of sessions ago I spilled all.
Okay.
As much as Locke and Mac could remember.
I also look at Locke and say, another? What were they?
I can quickly verbatim explain them for you.
Yeah,
Sure. Okay, no. So the first vision was right at the start of this this original party's journey, centered around where a certain obelisk of potential importance was taken. There was an astral image of what was once there. What was depicted was this stone carved with these sigils, these insignias, this odd writing. However, emerging from behind this obelisk was a elven woman dressed in a. Oh no, sorry, apologies. There was a unicorn that appeared, and then from behind said unicorn appeared an elven woman, silent, unspoken, and as Locke approached said woman, they went up into one of the gatehouse's towers of the village, of the town, and she pointed towards what you could just barely make out as the coastline on the horizon. And there were what Locke is explaining to you were darkened skies and the purple haze approaching the shores of what was the Sword's coast, and what seems as if dark tendrils encroached the vast plains set in front of that town, and then darkness. The second was a burning forest of some unknown sort of area, taken by the wind. Locke's vision was taken down a tunnel, and there was a humanoid bent over with purpley, warty skin. One eye was black and beady, whilst the other was yellow and its pupil fashioned like a cat's eye. Following that vision, there was another elven woman. Sorry, the same elven woman who Locke followed up into the tower in a previous dream, who was weeping within a blighted clearing of trees. But then she vanished, and again darkness. There was a third vision that repeated the events of Vision 2. However, the perspective had slightly changed in the last scene. The elven woman was weeping over what looked to be a dead unicorn. Vision 4, which was in the town that Locke's explained to you, that was the town that they first encountered the fire giants, digging for the pieces of this potential mechanism, this gearing, this structure. He woke within the grove and not in his room, and walking aimlessly around through those apple trees within the orchard, there were these odd green crystals protruding in and out of the bark. He reached down to touch one, and the second that his hand touched this crystalline shape, the scene changed and the skies blackened with the burning of a giant tree. And there, dotted around the tree, were more crystals, but then the vision changed to a giant cavern of gigantic roots protruding around and wrapping through more larger forms of these crystals. It switched to a bird's eye view to see a gleaming pool, and within the pool he saw and heard a lady weeping. But upon closer inspection, instead of a woman weeping over a beast, an animal, this woman being the same elven woman from his previous 3, he saw a young unicorn come up to comfort the lady. But the lady looked up towards the viewpoint that Locke was looking down on, as she called up to him and cried out for please help, as there were these dark, shadowy humanoid beings rippling within a pool of water. And then you got Vision 5, which is what was just now. And that is Visions with the DM, Part 1. There are a couple of other details there, admittedly, that I have slightly forgotten because I don't know where on earth those notes have gone, but that pretty much, in a nutshell, was the first 4.
Could you briefly do the 5 again, just so I remember?
Actually, just adding to Vision 4, this tree that was set ablaze, there was actually, if I'm remembering correctly, that there was a slight change in perspective on that as well, where this tree was set atop a plateau situated between 2 grand fissures that, emanating from these crevasses, a dark black miasma was flowing up through, but down in this crevice there was a shine of light. So, Vision 5, a bit of a run through because last couple of paragraphs I still need to write. There was a scene in which there was a flash of facial features, pale cheek, dusting a blue eyeshadow, a wisp of silver hair. Then there was almost a scene or a feeling of a grand battle or something within a glade, wave of exhaustion. The scene was then painted of what did look to be a battlefield within hard-hitting rain from a storm. Locke's view sort of went towards the tree line in the distance, and then was surrounded on either side by what looked to be 4 wolf-like beings bleeding in and out of focus on either side of him. I will add, they weren't opposing him; they were stood by your side.
Yep.
But again, you couldn't focus. Whether that be just the rain hitting your face in this scene or something, it was unclear. Turning around, a gargantuan tree in size, swaying in the storm like the serpentine movement of a reptilian tail. Then the scene went to pretty much a full frontal surge against the tree line, almost as if something was pulling this group that Ewan's perspective was part of. But then darkness hit with a cackle echoing through darkness, and then then Locke, apologies, then Locke could see his 4 party members not on the same surface, same plane almost. Yeah, they were below the waterline, mirrored on the surface that Locke was standing. And at the end, another dark, sort of shadowy being appeared, holding what was a blue orb aloft, but then was quashed by an even larger force in a mottled green and opalescent light and colouring, and gave Locke the direction before the vision ended. And that is Visions Part 2 with the DM.
Was there something to do with someone reminding Locke about what he's learned from his family or something as well?
Yeah, there was something like that. Again, this can be a conversation at the table.
Yeah. I was going to say. Okay.
I was trying to remember what you said.
I think that was somebody from my past trying to reassure me. Somebody I haven't seen or thought of for a very long time.
Do you know what they're trying to remind you of what you learned?
Well, the only time I ever saw that person was normally when I was straying from a certain path. If I was swaying in a dark direction or in a bad direction. But I'm gonna think back. Do I recognise the battle scene or?
No, that is a complete foreign area that you do not know. However, it did have some air of almost as if nature's gone overboard in the area. But because of the rain, because of the storm, it was just a complete mess. You couldn't focus. You weren't drawn to those details, yeah? But to have a tree of such massive size must be someplace fairly fantastical.
Look to the rest of the group. And then I almost get the feeling that we're building up to something here. If this lady from my past is reminding me to stay on track, then it's either because something I'm straying or something that could cause me to stray is approaching.
Do you recognise the lady?
There was no recognisable features, but I think I recognise the instructions, the references.
I guess it's a reminder to us all to stay focused. Make sure we stay on task.
So we're going up north soon, I'm guessing. Before we ever prepared.
Are we saying that's off the track, going away from where Locke needs to go?
What I'll do is I'll quickly put a counter on the main map of where you are all supposedly headed. That is a yes, Locke.
Yeah.
So the red mark is where we are, or meant to be going, sorry?
So that little red pin with the A, that is where you will be going.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you in Fantasy Grounds, on the big map that I shared at the start of the session, I put like a little counter on where you will be sort of going to. Yeah, so it looks to be, at least on this scale of map that has been drawn by your party member, Coco, it does look to be slightly off the beaten path, potentially. But again, there may be some side trails, some side roads that aren't, visible at this scale that you might be able to traverse, trying to sort of skirt the bottom of the ice spires, but I'm afraid it might have to be taken day by day to try and get to where you need to go. Unless a certain dwarven member of the party could potentially remember back all those 3 months ago, sort of two and a bit months ago, when he started his own journey.
Yeah, I just walked along the road, and yeah, I didn't go left because it's all icy and mountainous. I went right through the woods down the river. I got to the road.
Been me myself being cleared out.
I will admit, for the first quite long part of your journey, there weren't really a lot of settlements that you did come across.
So lonely.
So lonely. It was only when you started going sort of circling the Evermoors and then down the road towards the sort of near Calling Horns, actually. That's when you met Locke on his wagon.
So, is Locke getting mental guidance not to go north?
Look at Adrick. I don't think it's telling me not to go north, just to be wary and be careful.
Yeah, that goes without saying. We're going into the skirting the mountains. It's coming towards autumn. It's gonna be wet. Shouldn't be that cold.
It's the second time I've seen her face, though, or I've felt her presence. The last time was when we entered the memory in Philippe's book.
All sorts of weird stuff went on that day. So,
who has that book now? Do I have it?
Yep.
So, I'm happy to go whichever route the group wants to go, but sort of following the road line with my finger. I would think that we would follow the road up to the north and towards Coldwood's River, and then follow the river up to then get to the ice spires, Cold Lake.
that's almost the route I came down. I suppose you'd be trusting to the road next to the river. And yeah, I made it. There wasn't that much that took me out, but then I'm just a single dwarf, not a ragtag bunch of whatever adventurers.
As they're discussing this, can I take out the book and just have a bit of a study of it?
Sure. You thud the massive tome onto the table. Everyone's cutlery sort of rattles as you start to unhook the clasp and trawl through the leaves of the tome.
I don't get the same sort of message as last time, do I? No.
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
I was going to say, I'll close the book real quick.
No. But everything is written, drawn carefully with like varying sizes of quills and colours and watercolour sort of imagery. Yeah. You turn the page and then you do see that large sort of just for the sense of scale. This tome is probably no bigger than an A4 sheet of paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit smaller. This picture takes the whole page. And just to remind you, this image that you once saw a familiar face seemed to be leading a group and pointing to something within a valley. And on the opposite pages, written in sort of Common and Elven, you read it quite easily, it seemed to be the founding of Silvery Moon. And if I remember correctly, it was around, I think, 317 DR. So, quite a long time ago. Just to remind you all, we are in 1490. Hang on, 1491.
Do I recognise the location?
There are certain
respect to
landmarks that
the-
have stood the test of time, and with all the writing on the left-hand side and the right-hand side having the picture. The forests, however, look far bigger than what currently is in the sort of like the local area and the region, presumably because of deforestation, civilizations growing, etc., etc. But you do pick out the large river that does bisect the city, that would then flow down and across through the Silver Marshes. And that river would be called the Rawven River.
Okay.
What were we all trying to find out at the table? What we doing?
Is Bree still sleeping?
She will be, yes.
Awesome. I sort of look about as we're all delving in this book, and I feel like Bree's missing out on this food. So I'm gonna get my loot. And I'm gonna go near I want to say room 10, whatever the thing was we had curtains.
Mhm.
And just start playing that same song I did to the gardener to see if
Okay.
he wakes her up.
All right.
I don't
You
remember
hear-
word by word, but that.
Yeah, no, that's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. So you hear the plinking of strings, the tune emanating from Kokopelli's lute. It does have the sort of as you rehear it, Bree, it's almost as if he's trying to oddly ask a question, trying to understand who people are, and with having that link where he was busking playing this song, is a bit sort of out of character to have it played with people that he knows, but he is a bit of an odd bird after all.
I'll peer my head from under the covers, take a look at my surroundings, look past Kokopelli and see the food at the table with everyone eating and talking. And then I'll ask Kokopelli, ignoring the song, and go, "Are we leaving yet?"
Nope. Wakey, wakey, food.
I'll get some food on my way. And then I'll turn around.
Okay. You have a stubborn feline, as cats are.
I've
So-
been listening to the conversation, just so everyone knows, but I am
Sneaky.
relaxing before a long journey.
A long journey it will be, potentially, ish, if there's roads. If there's not roads. So, for those of you around the table with Locke with his great big tome out in front of him, what are you all discussing? What are you trying to sort of work out?
Well, I think we're heading north.
Well, sort of northwest.
Hmm.
Yeah. As Weylin was saying, if we follow the road, we veer away from the mountains. But what we could do is sort of follow the road a bit and then cut up in between the mountains and the wood, rather than following the river, because it's quite hard to come up a river.
From what you remember as well, that river was very, very cold due to the glacial waters in the region.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to swim it. I don't know, maybe you can change into a fish or something, but the rest of us can't. Can you change into a fish?
It's always better to walk alongside bodies of water, so you're able to drink it.
I could
Yeah.
imitate a duck.
Whack.
Just a black one.
There's another knock at the door.
I'll shout, "Come in."
The door opens, and emerging through the doorway is the head priest, holding what looks to be a dark sort of burgundy box, and he looks around. Putting you up very well, I see. King spares no expense for those of such importance. He waves to those that are around the table, and he approaches you, Adrick. Good morning, Adrick. And he bows.
I'll jump to my feet and bow back. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Please continue to enjoy your large spread in front of you. I've come bearing this box, the request that you asked of us yesterday. This is your fallen brethren from your home. This is Varrock's ashes, and he presents you with a sealed, locked box with a golden plaque on the front with Varrock's name inscribed upon it.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
Well, I know it's incredibly early, but we weren't entirely sure truly when you would be departing today. I understand that you do have an ultimatum delivered upon you by the giant, so I hear. So as long as I caught you before that, before you were making preparations to leave.
Yeah, we have to meet the giant at midday, and he's heading to Bolgirntek. I could do with going back there. We need to take a rock up there as well.
Indeed.
We were just debating the best route, I suppose.
You've got the map and everything out, correct?
The map's on the table, I presume.
With what you're describing, he does sort of peruse and go, see, okay. There is a trail here, and he points. It's not particularly the best from what I've heard, but it does branch off earlier, and you're able to skirt the bottoms of the spires. I would, however, say do be careful of the odd landslip here and there. With the oddity of the weather that we're having around here, the melting of ice and snow, etc., does dislodge rocks and boulders here and there. But if you do keep a careful eye and stay, a safe-ish distance away from the escarpments, the revetments, the cliff sides, you should remain safe. But I hope you got your walking boots on, I must say. It's going to take you some time to get there.
Yeah.
But I do wish you the best of luck. A cart. I'm sure someone throughout the Citadel could spare you a cart if you do not have one already.
We had a cart. We could probably do with a horse.
I see. We do have some oxen, potentially. Have you asked the king for such means to get you around, or is this something that you're having to work out today?
It hadn't even occurred to me. That's a brilliant idea. Yes, we could ask for some oxen for our cart.
Tell you what, I will, as one last sort of piece of goodwill from us, and or as a piece of like best wishes, I will organise the oxen for you. I know those down in the mills grinding the flour from the surrounding farms, so the hill farms around. I will see if they have any to spare, and if not, well, I'll try and persuade them. Let's say. He bows. He bows to all of you that are around the table. He gives a wave to you, Kokopelli, as you're on the opposite side of the room. He gives you sort of a gleaming smile, and turns and leaves the room.
I give him a cord to say goodbye. I go, ding.
Okay. I think that answers that question. We're not trying to sail upstream then. We branch off the road on the path.
If there's a path, then yes.
Okay. Well,
Let's...
I take it the plan is set, yes?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
we've
Yeah.
done all the shopping that we need to do, unless anybody else needs to do things. Oh, I'd like to buy some arrows.
Sure thing. Okay. We can have a bit of a montage playthrough as you prepare bits and pieces, unless there is something specific that people would like to do and discuss during that time. Make it known. Otherwise, I will press the fast forward button.
We're gonna have a montage.
I'm just going to keep playing the loop because Kokopelli sort of feels like he needs to keep playing.
Okay. As you all finish your lunch, you have a black feathered friend angrily, vigorously playing the lute, trying to push forward. As you are walking down corridors and prepared, Bree, is anything that you would have liked to have done first? I didn't mean to ignore you just there.
If no one woke me up and they just left, I would stay in bed until everyone's left, and then I would eat some food.
Okay. Rolling back a little bit, is anyone pulling this feline out of the warm covers and the duvet? I take that as a no.
I think Locke's learned his lesson, so he's definitely not.
I'm gonna help Weylin go and buy arrows because we
Okay.
might need to talk to someone about that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll do one look in through the curtain, and hopefully they won't come and clear the food away before she's eaten any.
For those of you who are awake and ready to go, Kokopelli is giving you a theme song. As you play through these scenes, you buy some arrows. You are tried to sort of forced to buy a quiver there, Weylin, but with the good quiver that you have slung across your back, you deny, and you now have 20 arrows. Can you please remove the amount of gold required for 20 arrows?
How much is that?
I forget which it is. Arrow.
$5,000.
$5,000. Oh, it's a 1 gold piece.
Yeah,
arrows.
I took 1 gold piece away.
Cool. Okay. As you go through the door slams shuts. The song, the tune of the lute, the squawking of Kokopelli can be heard throughout the plazas, throughout the hallways. As you make your way to and fro, organising the oxen, having again a bid farewell from the Archmage, as the mill hands seem to walk away with a fairly hefty coin purse as they give a smack to the back of 2 oxen who are now strapped to your carts, the cart positioned towards one of the elevators. You manage to get some more provisions, some more food for the journey ahead, even with the keen eye of Locke and the hunting prowess of Weylin. It is always good to have something in reserves. You top up on the equipment, the sundries that you need to cast your spells, if any, and really just have the final perusings of the Citadel, taking in the Grand Forge, taking in the market plazas, the Royal Ward, and just to remind yourselves, overlooking the guarded mine shafts, the boarded off entrances of some of the mine cart tracks, just a little reminder of the awful encounter down in the mines as you saved Solria. With all the preparations corrected, you go back to your living quarters to collect your final personal things. And as you open the door, you can see swinging from a chair, Bree. You are scoffing quite a lot of smoked salmon.
Most definitely am. Really enjoying this. And I have some peace and quiet.
And unfortunately, that has now been disturbed by the loot bursting forth through the door.
Did I hear his footsteps coming up to the door?
Probably would have, yes. This corridor that this large room is placed on, isn't particularly well trafficked.
If I heard it, I would have quickly taken like 1 or 2 bites of the rest of the salmon and shoved it down my throat and gone back to bed pretending I'm asleep.
As you come through the doorway, you do see the rock of a chair, and then the quick movement of the curtain that is used, that heavy duty curtain that is used as the doorways to your private rooms, flutter in the wind, almost as if something has gracefully moved between. All right, you are done. You're in the room. What are we doing? Come on. Who's doing what? Who's not doing something?
Time is it?
It's mid-morning, so it's probably about 10:30, something probably about 11:15. There wouldn't be anything stopping you from going to see Harshnag now. Harshnag gave you an ultimatum at the latest that he would wait for you, not necessarily a specific time.
Have we got any form of rain cover over the hump cart? Is it just open air? It's chucking it down.
No. It would have cover, but it's not raining. It was only raining during the during the night. The weather has stayed clear for most of today.
We still got the tent, yeah.
Yeah, you still got your tents and stuff. All your normal gear is still there. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, we've got food and stuff like that. I think we're ready to go.
Okay.
Is everyone else ready to go?
Roll call.
I'm still playing, but I nod yes.
Lock's been packed up since this morning. Yeah.
There is no mention from Bree.
Okay.
I'll hold out my hand to Adrick. Rock, paper, scissors.
Fine.
Okay, in Fantasy Grounds, I would like you to roll a d20 in chat, and we'll see who wins.
Oh.
Adrick, I'm afraid you have lost. You have to go awaken the lioness.
I think I've got
D20
modifiers.
damage.
I'm sure I've got a modifier on that.
Lock point.
Right. Is everyone lined up by the door with their back rucksacks on, ready to go?
Yep.
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 Everyone's been to the loop. Yep. Okay.
I'm still playing.
I will go to the curtain and go, Bree, we're going.
You see Bree open the curtains and she's packing. You see her like have a bit of smoked salmon outside of her mouth because she's still chewing on it, taking her time. She's been up, but she doesn't want to. She's dreading leaving leaving and heading out to the cold. But she's doing it, just not happy. So any minute she can spare, she will do it. I'm getting ready, almost done. You guys could head out. I'll meet you in a second.
Okay. We'll head down to the main gate then.
Okay. Bree, what is it that you are doing within your room? You hear the close of the door behind you.
Packing, and I'm leaving a note.
Okay.
To whoever reads it that says, I know the king's secret.
Okay. Oh God! A little
So
origami
troll.
crane has been left on the pillow
Well,
with the
put it
writings
on
within it.
Not my bed. And
Oh,
leave.
okay. Okay.
I don't know what the king's secret is, but just want to stir some suspicion because there is something happening. I just don't know what it is.
I see. I like it. I like
He's a
it.
gnome on stilts.
Maybe.
Cool. All right. So I'm just trying to work out distance time, so please bear with me. Because I've kind of changed how many aminals we've got pulling these things.
As long as I'm not one of them, I'm cool.
I don't think
It's
we're going in a
Walter's
straight line.
turn.
Straight line. Oh, we're flying it. Great.
Right, okay. Yeah. So, for those of you who have made their way to the cart, for those of you who can sort of picture maps and distances, who have the cartographer's brain, you reckon that is probably hopefully no more than 4 days worth of travel, and that is at worst case if the trail is pretty rubbish. For those of you thinking about it, you're not assuming like a well-paved or trodden road. There might be a few times that you might have to dig the wagon out a couple of times here and there. But with the big, strong oxen that have been given to you by the mill hands, hopefully they'll be used to the rocky, cobble-like ground that you've got to go across. And also, don't forget, you've got a giant that you might be able to put a rope around his waist if things do get a little bit treacherous. You're not entirely sure where this fork in the road is going to appear for this trail that the head priest has described to you, but with the path that you have to take, I'm pretty sure that it will soon reveal itself. Adrick, there is a decision to be had. Do you go directly to your home? Or are you going to have a stop on the way? Sorry, more of a comfortable stop on the way. There's going to have to be times you have to pitch up tent and everything. But I mean, like trying to find an inn.
Kind of guess there are inns on the roads.
The only glimpse of civilization would have been one of the villages by the Cold Loch.
Or is that the first village we get to?
With this trail off the beaten path and no landmarks on this road that goes through what's known as the Cold Vale, that path that sort of skirts over the big silver marshes wording. There was nothing of note through the trail that you took for the river. So it's going to be a bit of a rough one for the first 3 to 4 days until you can get to the Cold Loch.
Yeah, so I guess the villages around the loch are going to be the first place we come to. That's going to be confusing coming to a loch. Yes, okay. We will.
Would you go for the?
Well, we're coming up from the south, aren't we? So there's villages on the south and villages. Yeah.
I get the feeling at this point that we'd be taking quite as much of a direct route as we could.
Yeah, so we're coming up around between the woods and the mountains and approaching the loch from the south.
Have I sent you actually an image of the sub-map that I made for you, Adrick? I may have had a bit of creative freedom with what we have been discussing, but I have tried to make it as true as I could do without going too overboard. So,
it's your world. You can do what you want with it. Yeah, so I reckon we're coming up in between the Ice Spires and the Coldwood, and will therefore naturally come to the southern village on the south side of the Cold Loch.
Okay.
And then potentially get a boat across. But I don't know if we could get the ox cart onto the boat. Can try.
The just to jog your memory, the path that you have to take once you get to the main mountainous part, the mountainous part of the Ice Spires through to your city, isn't particularly the best for anything with wheels, especially with how big this cart is that you have.
But if we can get it to the elevator.
Yes.
Elevator? Yeah.
Yes, elevator. That's a bit of a spanner. Hang on.
I think it might be difficult getting that far. But yeah, let's get to the village first, and then we can worry about getting across the loch and up into the mountain.
Okay.
Or around the loch and into the mountain.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So judging by what you've sort of you can remember and what you saw in the distance and everything, yeah, it's about 4 days definitely. But then getting across the loch and everything, that's probably about a couple of hours of a ferry ride across, and then getting up into the upper regions of that escarpment that you have to go through for the ice spires. That will have to be taken it as it comes, trying to get the cart through. But yeah, brilliant. Okay, not a problem. So, everyone, you're hoiking your stuff into the back of the cart. You are gearing up for the journey ahead.
Is this Kokopelli banging the drum?
It can be if you want.
Fuck yeah.
Locke, you're checking out the oxen. Adrick, you're ensuring that the structural integrity of the wagon is enough for the journey ahead. Weylin, you're sorting out provisions, ensuring that you all don't sort of starve to death. Bree, you come down the spiraling staircase, the sounds of the foundry ringing in your ears, and you make your way across the foundry area, nodding to people as they recognize who you are and wave, etc. And you approach your retinue, your group.
We ready? Everyone?
We are ready.
Excellent.
Oh, bang the drum harder.
Excellent. You make your way through to the elevator. And the doors shut. The gearing can be heard behind the walls, and you come down into the main front plaza area of the entrance. The bridge directly in front of you. The guards, the airlocks, the gates that they've erected to have some further protection for the Citadel are still up and are being patrolled by the guards of the Citadel. Knowing who you are, they let you through, and you are going across the bridge. In the distance, you can see leaning up against one of the gatehouses is a sort of greyish blue-skinned giant, adorned in that rattlebone armor, with the skull of that dragon atop his head. Harshnag is waiting for you. With one final gate to get through, you are on the other side, the mountain valley in front of you of where that undead army was attacking you from. Noticing your approach, Harshnag has now come to you. Is now kneeling down such that he can hear your little voices instead of trying to understand high above you all. Hello, everyone. Thank you for agreeing to join me for this journey north. Are you all prepared?
Yeah, give him a nod.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Good. We have a long journey ahead. I will try not to diverge from the path too much for the likes of you small folk. If there is any issues, if there's any troubles, please do speak up, and I shall ensure that I do not leave you behind. Any problems along the way, I'll endeavour to help you through such challenges, but fingers crossed that we do not find anything rough along the way. I have spoken to the surrounding guards, and they have told me that this way, and he points behind him, the northern road skirting this grand fissure that Citadel Adbar is positioned across from. If we go this way, we will get up to what they call the Frigid Path. This path will take us down through a small valley, and we will skirt around the end of the spines, the ice spires, to, and he turns to you, Adrick, to your home. If it was just me, I believe it would have taken me 2 days, alas, but I shall be behind you, keeping the rear, in order to keep your pace. I see that you have come prepared, and he points towards your oxen.
Thanks to the generosity of the king and the high priest.
Indeed, indeed. The Dwarven Guard around here have been, I would assume, fairly anxious of me having my camp so close, but in contrast, the children that have come and spoken to me has been a breath of fresh air. That is before they've been ushered back over the bridge. I do enjoy the company of the small folk from time to time. He stands towering above you, roughly 17 feet tall. His stature bulkier than what it may naturally be. However, with his toned physique, the muscles that protrude from his arms, he definitely can probably tackle the mountain that stands behind him. Onwards, and he points as he stands to one side, making way for you all.
Whip up the oxen or whatever
Yeah.
you're doing to make them go faster.
Right.
Excellent.